Hello, my name is Artem, and that went really, whoa, fast. I'm not that fast. Let's try like this. Stupid technology. Okay, so one big rule. Rule number one. Slides are boring, and talks filled with slides are even more boring. So, if you can ask questions, my only value to you is to be helpful. If I'm not helpful, I failed, and as a marketing person, that's really sad for me. So, if you have any kind of questions, just ask during any point in time during the presentation. So, about me briefly, I guess I would say that I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur in a sense that I do it because I love it. I mean, the money is kind of additional benefit to it, but since I was a small child, I always wanted to be either a businessman or a hired killer. And the reason for that is that when I was small, we used to watch Hollywood movies. And who from the guys had the best cars, the best women? It was the mafiosa guys or the businessmen. So when I was 5 years old, didn't know much of a difference. Now I know a hired killer is also a businessman, just in a different type of profession. Luckily, I chose the path of entrepreneurship, the legal one. So anyway, since I was small, I always dreamed about becoming a businessman, not for the sake of suits and stacks of money, but I thought it's awesome to do what you love to do and do only things you love to do. Now that I actually am an entrepreneur and involved in several businesses, I know you don't always get to do what you like to do, but most of the time, that's pretty much true. So, I love technology. When I came to Finland, I'm originally from Russia, I guess, as my thick accent might give me away. So when I came to Finland, well, I first came actually to Sweden, but then to Finland. When I came to Finland, computers were everywhere, and that was awesome. In high school, I had access to many computers, so what I did is I started to program. I wanted to make computers do what I like to do. So obviously I started to create viruses, and viruses to control the computers in the classroom, so I could create embarrassing situations for my teachers. So anytime there was a lecture or something, I could put very exotic images on the screen of the teacher and just watch her freak out. So after a little while, that got boring, and I moved on to something more interesting, programming web pages. And if you ever would have seen my first ever web page, that's like the worst experience you could possibly imagine. Huge text everywhere, blinking and so forth. Because at that point I was really poor at programming. I just wanted to try everything. So basically you would have an epilepsy every time you would visit my website. Everything is flashing, going, changing, moving and so forth. So, but from bad comes good. I fell in love with online marketing, and it happened rather interestingly. I had a hobby, maybe a bit embarrassing hobby, talking about it now, but I fell in love with Japanese animation, anime. Well, who of you have watched anime? Oh, there we go, even the teacher has. Now we're talking. I don't have to be embarrassed now. Okay, so I wanted to create a website for people like me. I didn't have any agenda, nothing. I just wanted to create a website. Simple website. I created it, coded it, and all of a sudden people started coming in a bit. But then obviously I wanted more people to visit my website because I thought like, whoa, I created a really cool thing. Everybody should use it. And then obviously there were established websites about it. I couldn't compete with them, so I started to create content. Then all of a sudden, people came who drew wallpapers. I took them in as part of my team. Then we started a radio station. Well, that's pretty cool. Then we started offering subtitles for the anime. That's pretty cool. All of a sudden, I realized one day that I don't actually study. I live USA time zone. I have 10 people basically working for me. This is my full-time job, and I don't do anything else, and I have 500,000 users on my website. And that's the point when I realized I gotta put some ads on that. I can generate some cash. And so I did. I generated my first ever cash from just running a hobby website and supported partying habits of me and my friends. Well, that costed me. I graduated from high school, I think 2 or 3 years later than everybody else, because I basically never came in. I had a job already. So that's how I got started with online marketing. I fell in love because I thought that it's one of the few things you can do where the little guy, me, basically a high school student with no money and no expertise, can compete with somebody who has been pretty much established in the field, a huge websites. So this is the reason why I still love what I do, because if you go work for some company, a small startup or something, in the internet they all look the same, the websites. So it doesn't matter if it's a huge company behind it or if it's a tiny company. If the user experience you bring is great and the value that you bring is great, they might choose you and not the huge company. Good. So, another thing is I love startups, and I always tend to create more and more. Because for me, being an entrepreneur is like a disease. You can cure a little parts of it, the symptoms, but it never goes away. So you want to create more and more and more and more. So my own company is now expanding. We're opening an office in St. Petersburg. Besides that, I'm involved in different startups and now starting new. We talked a little bit previously before the talk. We're now thinking about opening 2 more startups involved with internet and internet technology and e-commerce. I just think startups are like the coolest thing ever. You create something from nothing. When I started my company, I had 65 euro in a bank account. I went to register my company and they took my 65 euro. But few years later, you know, I was able to hire people, create things, open office in different country from nothing. I think that's the most fascinating thing for me in startups, creating value out of thin air. And I guess that's very important for me also. And if you think about content marketing online, you can't go wrong with cats. I mean, if you take a boring sales video, you know, where you talk about filters for power plants, if you put a lot of cats in the background and they're just walking, all of a sudden that video will get a lot more hits. But anyway, that's just a little side note in the otherwise maybe a bit of a dry talk. So I founded my company in 2010, and I guess I differ a little bit from you guys and from many other people. I decided not to pursue education. I decided to just not do anything education-wise. After high school, I realized I went to Oulu University, to IT department, attended a few courses, and after a few good sleeps during lecture, I realized that it's not for me. I want to do something else. It's not for everybody, but for me personally, I love to do things. If we're talking about the website, I would like to code it. If we talk about online marketing, I want to start a campaign on Facebook and see how it works. I like to tinker with things. And during lectures, that is rarely encouraged. But, you know, you guys are working on projects and so forth. I think that's much more closer to what I would like to see when I was attending university. So I skipped that and founded my company in 2010 after working a short time for a technology company. So every time you start a company, I guess this is the reason why people who start startups, they never start one, they create many startups. It's like a drug. You're like, woo, I have a new company. There is this business ID. And then first thing that entrepreneurs do, they print business cards. But once they start giving out business cards, they realize this. For me, it was a huge shock. I thought now that I start my own company and I'm going to offer online marketing services, and I really know what I'm talking about. I have experience already from many years ago when I was even already in high school. I did many things that, you know, even a lot of online digital agencies don't do. I thought I got to get a bigger door because they're going to come in and just going to be cramped in my office. But nobody really cared. After sitting it for a few days and looking at my business card, petting it a little bit, you know, I realized that I got to do something. Got to do something. But that something is marketing. But obviously, when you are a startup company, when you're a small company, I don't like to use the term startup so much because in many cases it refers to technology. So from now on, I will just say small company, because it doesn't necessarily have to be involved anyhow in technology field. But if you're a small company, you have no money, just like zero money usually. You're very tight. You have very little time and no resources. You don't have people. You cannot hire people. One of the things I learned in my company, and one of the biggest mistakes I made, is I started alone. That was so stupid. I should have had at least one or two other people, but I thought, like, if I'm alone, I get all the monies. But I realized that 100% from zero is still zero. So I should have taken some other people to co-found the company with me. And luckily, I learned from that mistake, and I don't anymore have any ventures I'm involved in where I'm alone. But another thing is possibly no previous experience. If you open a bakery, for example, in Oulu, where I'm now, you know, came from to talk to you, you know, where the reindeers live, well, almost, close by. You know, you might have a business, a small business in the middle of the town, and you really love baking. But you don't really know what is content marketing, you don't know what is search engine optimization, you don't know what is CTR, CPA, and so forth. So in many cases, small companies, they have no money, no time, no resources, no experience, and they obviously don't have a brand. They're a new company. So if Coca-Cola says something, everybody listens. But if a small bakery in the middle of Oulu says something, nobody cares. So, well, not all is lost, because in a small company, usually there is a lot of passion. Personally, I think that's the biggest driver in my company. I just really love what I do. My biggest competitive advantage is that nobody can work as much as I do. Because I work during night, I read everything on the phone when I travel and so forth. Because when you love it, you don't stop at 4 o'clock. You do it during weekends, after hours, before bed, in the morning, and so forth. You're flexible. In many cases, you know, a small company, it can be really flexible what to do, how to do. And for example, small company can afford to show their process, how they make their food and so forth. A bigger company, for example, might have bureaucracy so entrenched in the culture that getting a small permission to open a Facebook page, and this is true experience from working with one client, might require 3 weeks of meetings. Just, you want to open a Facebook page, 3 weeks of meetings, and in the end, you still get no. So, you dare to take risks in a small company. You anyway don't have money. What's the worst that can happen? You will go bankrupt. Well, that's not the worst thing. You can leverage modern tools and channels. I mean, a small company can take advantage of tools that are not so well known, for example, in Finland. I use many of the tools that are rarely used in Finland that I will show during my talk. But anyway, oh, bless you. So this is, for me, where the content marketing comes in. Let's try this again. Maybe it will work. So for me personally, content marketing is means to attract more leads offline and online. So that's basically it. You consume a lot of content. How many of you watch at least 15 minutes of video every day on YouTube? 15 minutes. Read at least one blog post, one a day. Okay. I can go on and on and on and on. You consume a ton of content. And this is why this works. And of course, obviously, you have to create, if for example, I focus on creating kitty pictures, that's not going to drive a lot of business. But if I record my talks, and people see that maybe, okay, maybe there is something about this guy, maybe he knows what he's talking about, then I might get calls to do more talks, and so forth. So, content marketing is basically creating content that attracts type of customers or potential customers to your sales funnel. That's basically it. So what is content? It's visual, textual, audio, or interactive. It could be a game. It could be an audio recording or an interview. It could be a video lecture. Hello. Or it could be, you know, just a blog post or just textual content. Or it could be a white paper, a PDF, and so forth. We can go on and on and on and on. But basically, it's something that has value and can be placed online. Even links are content. And we'll later see how you can leverage, for example, links as a content, in terms of content. So a few reasons why content marketing has been getting a lot of publicity lately, and basically I hopefully will prove to you that you cannot anymore run a successful, especially multinational business if you don't do content marketing. So one thing, it's free. Woohoo, for free! I mean, come on, who doesn't like free? Yes, so basically nobody stops you from creating text or, you know, recording a video or so forth. You know, you ladies and, you know, men out here have laptops open, you have a webcam and a microphone there. Nobody stops you from creating content right now. Well, don't do right now, but maybe later, after the break. So there is a lot of tools you already have in place. The starting cost is zero. So it's free, but only in the beginning. The later, the more you go, the more you will have to invest in terms of time and money in order to get good at content marketing. But in the beginning, it's absolutely free. Whoa. Now whoa. Okay, I guess I will use the buttons. So, some of it takes very little time. But to get good at it, you have to invest a lot of time. And that's very good. That's very, very good. Because in marketing, there are barriers to entry. If you talk about paid advertising, what is the barrier to entry? Money. Hello. Good morning. How are you? So, the barrier to entry is money. If you want to do paid advertising, you have to have money, and that's the barrier to entry. So you want to compete with Coca-Cola? You have to have Coca-Cola media budget. So, that's very good. And in content marketing, it's time. Time invested. That's the barrier to entry. And that's very, very good. Because if it was really easy, took no time, everybody would do it. How could you get visibility online if it was so easy? Obviously, there is no silver bullet, and it's awesome. It's really, really good. So, but you can do a lot of things in terms of content marketing that doesn't take a lot of time. I set up a video camera inside of 5 minutes. I'm going to push it on YouTube, and that takes maybe another half hour. That's not a big thing, not a big time commitment, but still, it's something that will serve me for years to come. There are very few things in marketing you can do investing just an hour of your time or maybe 2 hours of your time, and something that will keep bringing you customers and visibility for years to come. There are very, very few things. You can do it alone, and like many things you can do alone, but it's much better when you have a buddy. So I started creating blog posts and so forth, and all the time I created less and less and less. The more sales I did, the more work I had, the more projects I had, the less content I could create. Now I'm really, really lucky that I have people around me that can help me create content, that can help me proofread content, edit content, help distribute it, and so forth. They're my partners. And it's really, really good. So you can get started just creating content by yourself, but if you want to so-called, get in the big leagues, you would have to have some sort of staff, or you have to outsource some of it. Just a little, at least. And I think this is really, really good. Content filters out the trash. So, if me and Jari, get into a war, who is the better at online marketing, for example, he has a book out that people can purchase on Amazon. I'm correct, right? Yes. So he automatically wins. So he has put a lot of time, went through the barrier, and created a lot of content. And the barrier to that is really high. I mean, I'm working on my book, so yes. But anyway, content as a barrier works really well, because if you think you want to be an expert, or you want to find out a good expert, usually you see what kind of content they produce and the amount of content they produce. So basically, if you go to a bank and you talk to a private investor advisor, and he tells you should invest money in these stocks, and you say like, well, okay, why should I trust you and your advice? And he says, I studied there and there and there. And another guy says, hey, I made my first million using this and this, and I have my book out, you can read there and come talk to me later. You're like, wow, okay. He has content out that other people had access to and vouched it to be good, so maybe I should trust him. So content is a great way to establish yourself as an expert in a field. That's what I'm trying to do right now. You can tell me later if it's working. So, you don't need previous experience to start, but as I mentioned before, only one way to get really good at it is just keep doing it. I think there was a really interesting study. I don't remember where I read it. It's the first 20 hours or something. I don't remember the book. But it was a study in American university where there were two groups of students. And they were doing clay pottery. Clay, just, you spin the wheel with your leg and create a clay pot or something. So, two groups. One group was told that you have to create very few pots, and you have all the time in the world, just focus and get the best quality you can. And another group was told, who cares about quality? Just get as many as you can out. And they had some time to practice, I think a few days or so, and the group that focused on speed had the best quality. And the same with content marketing. If you want to get good at it, if you want to keep creating good content, you have to do a lot of it. The frequency has to be really, really good. You cannot just create one blog post and hope that that will save your business. You have to do it for years to get really good. I've been doing it since 2010, and I'm thinking that soon I'm going to start getting good at it. So I'm very close, but not yet. Okay, and I think this is the biggest point of the whole presentation. Content is internet currency. If you think about it, if you go on Google and search for, I don't know, if you search for example, for a loan to purchase a house. Google will search for site that has most valuable content and site that is linked to from other sites, which measures the authority of the content. So basically, Google sees who has the most amount of currency, and that currency is content, and links and so forth also play into it. But it's content. Usually, companies fell into the same hole. They create a website, and it's always the same. Front page, huge images, really like, we are the best. And then there is sub-pages, services, about us, and if you're lucky, there is a blog that's last time has been updated 2 years ago. That's if you're lucky. That's like the good situation. So usually in terms of content, if you look at the major percentage of company websites, it's just a business card. It serves the same purpose. There is no content strategy. There's just, hey, we sell this, buy from us. But if you ask yourself this, I think when people are creating a website, they should ask themselves this question. What value can we bring to people that will never buy anything from us? And obviously to our target group. So I can answer the question myself. So if a person that is my potential client but will never buy anything from me comes on to my website, there is blogs, videos, guides and so forth he can use that he will possibly find helpful and useful. So I think that's a very good measure of a good company website. Is it useful to people? Is it useful? Yeah. Good. Well, I already mentioned that search engines love it. You have no content, you can forget about Google. That's it. That's it. Just nothing else. No content, no Google. And I can, let's see the time. I still have a little time. I can tell you a story. After my project, my big portal project, I decided, hey, this is really fun. I'm going to leverage my understanding of search engines and create a different website where I'm going to offer reviews for DVDs, and people can buy DVDs from me through Amazon, and I get the commission. So I started the website, I tried to market it using search engine optimization and so forth, but then I thought like, whoa, I got a great idea. I thought I'm like the genius in the room. I decided, hey, I'm going to put a lot of text below the content using only keywords that are important to me, and I'm going to use the same font color as the background so normal people don't see it, but search engines do. I thought like, whoa, that's a strike of genius on my part. I'm going to get all the monies. I'm going to buy internet. After a few weeks, time goes by, I wake up, I check my statistics, no visitors. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? And basically, Google banned me. And then, it's all of a sudden, the heart goes, what now? I'm thinking, okay, what do I do? I go to Google to search how to unban myself from Google. I'm like, how to get listed again. I go to Google, I find a form. And basically it's a form that makes you feel really humble. Because they basically make you beg to get back in. They are writing like, please describe what precautions you took in order to make this never happen again, and promise our firstborn, and so forth and so forth. So basically, after that form, they also say like, hey, this can take from 3 weeks to never. So like, have fun waiting. After a lot of waiting, I got back into Google, but my ranking was never good anymore. So basically, it destroyed my project. So, no content, no Google. So what is good content? The best way to describe good content is it's something that people want to talk about. if it's worth talking about. That's why cat videos always win. Always win. I can never compete with those. If you've seen the video of a cat walking on a bathtub ledge, and then there is a dog standing by, and the dog at some point just does this and pushes the cat into the tub, I could never compete with that. Because people want to talk about it. They want to share it on Facebook and show their friends and show their children and so forth. But the content has to be so good or so useful, helpful, funny, whatever, that people want to talk about it. That's the best measure of good content. So,
how did you...
Awesome. First question. You get 5 points.
How did you create a good content in the beginning when it's limited skill that you need designing and language skill and video and whatever, but you are alone?
Yeah. So I started myself with blogs, and I just opened a company website. I can even tell you how I opened my company website. No money, no time, had to do it quickly. I have the skills to create a website myself, but that takes way too long. So what I did, I went to themeforest.net and purchased a template, a ready-made template, put my website there, put information, and just basically focused on the blog part. I just wrote blog posts. And I decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to write about things that nobody else writes about. So how many of you know Snoopy? Okay. So one day I started my company, and in Finland when you start your company, first thing you get is phone calls. Right away. Hello, hey, minun nimi on blah, 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 blah. Haluaisitko ostaa tätä? Do you want to buy this and that? And you're like, no, but sir, please, this is really important. Anyway, click. So I got a phone call from Snoopy salesperson. Hey, you started your company. Would you really like to have good analytics for your website? And I'm like, hey, do you offer free trial? Yes, sir, we do. And basically, I asked every single question I can from that guy. And basically, he got really weird because he's like, you want to know so much. Nobody was ever interested this much in our product. I then got a trial version of their product. I used their product, and I wrote a blog post about it. Is Snoopy worth it? And I wrote no. Then, few weeks go by, I get an email from Snoopy sales director or whoever. Could you please take it away or something? I don't remember the nature of the email, or it was something like, we don't like what you do. Could you get, out? So basically, I thought like, why? A big company, Snoopy is a big company. Why would they care about me? I'm nobody, I'm like this. But then I went to search engine and I wrote Snoopy, and the third link was, is Snoopy worth it? No. So this is why he probably contacted me, and I thought I will do the fair thing. I let him write an answer to the blog post, and I put it into the blog post. So it's fair. And for me personally, I took it from the perspective of a startup, small company. Is Snoopy worth it for a small company that's just starting? For somebody bigger, maybe it's the best thing since sliced bread. Who knows? But anyway, so this is what I did in the beginning. I decided to, focus on things that nobody else writes about. Yeah.
And nowadays it's called Phonecta. And the sales director has been a guest lecturer here as well. So
good that it's not at the same time.
not at the same time. It has to be compared.
Okay. So this is the maybe answer slowly to your question. What content should you create? And many companies ask themselves, what content should we create? I mentioned cats already way too much that I'm a bit embarrassed, but should we do this or that or video? There's so many options. We can do interviews, we can do case studies, white papers, whatever. I think the best way to do is create a mission that is bigger than your company. For example, a company that creates filters for water, like industrial filters. Their mission could be, I'll skip to the next slide because I'm already stealing words from it. So a mission is something that is bigger than your company, something that people can identify with. So It could be, for example, a company that provides internet software for team management could say, our mission is we want to help IT companies be more productive. Mission is not we want to get as much money as possible. Mission is something that is bigger than your company, something you can do with your competitors even. So another one could be, our aim is to create truly environmentally sustainable fashion. That's a mission. We want to provide everybody on Earth with clean water. That's a mission. We want to help Finnish companies succeed in Russia. Hey, that's me. That's my mission, at least part of it. So anyway, a mission is something that allows you to basically, it's a compass for content creation, marketing, and communication. So if, for example, you know, we had a company that creates filters for industrial water purification. Their mission could be, our aim is to, we want to provide everybody on Earth with clean water. So what could they do? That automatically gives ideas. They could write about statistics about water, clean water on the Earth. They could attend conferences. They could give to charity. They could work with charity organizations regarding water purification and so forth. They could donate their filters to, you know, countries that need it and write about it and so forth. So basically, a mission allows you to get exposure and promote yourself, but indirectly. Yeah, good. So what exactly to write about? Well, one of the tools that I really, really love is Google Keyword Planner. I don't know if you guys went through it or seen it before. I love this tool. It's awesome. So anyway, this tool is free. You just need a Google account. You go and you type anything in there, like a search word. So I typed car insurance. And you see, let me borrow this device. If I wanted to advertise car insurance companies, one click costs 34 euro. And people search 49,000 times in the world, they search using this keyword. So if you want to create a content, for example, a blog post, what you could do is you could leverage this tool and see what people are searching for online. If you, for example, have a law firm in Finland, which is very traditional business, very tie, suit, and so if you want to, for example, advertise a law firm, you could go on Google and search, for example, for lakimiespalvelut or lawyer services or something, and you would see all the different search terms that are related to the search term you used, and you could see how popular they are. So this way you could write an article using words that you found in here, because you know then people are searching for it. And Google will give you visibility for those keywords if you use them properly and create really good content. So this is a really good way to start creating content when you know nothing about what you should write about. So for example, in MySpace, I mean, I don't mean MySpace as a website, but in my industry, MySpace is long gone. Long gone. Okay, so in my industry, for example, if you search for internet marketing, keywords like Facebook marketing, how do I open Facebook account, and so forth, those terms come. And you can write million blog posts about it. So when somebody searches, how do I open Facebook, I don't know, fan page, you could write a tutorial about it and give as much information as possible. And then at the bottom, you could have a form and say, hey, we do it for you for 100 euro. Somebody with, cash will come and see like, whoa, I don't want to do that. I better take a nap and let him do that. He writes in your form, yes, please do it for me. So basically, you create content and you have a sales funnel, which in my example was a form that allows you to leverage this content and drive sales. Okay. So another tool that I love is Google Trends. I don't have a link for that. I should add that. But Jari will send material to you guys if ever you run out of sleeping medication and you're like, whoa, really gotta go to sleep. Better check out Artem's slides. So anyway, Google Trends basically shows you what is popular in terms of searches in the world, or in Finland, or in Norway, or wherever you want. And there were, I don't remember, like, okay, there is Paula Patton files for divorce from Robin Thicke. Oh my God. I don't know who those are, but anyway, I guess this is very important. So what you could do, you could see what is relevant, and you can subscribe, so Google automatically sends you alerts when new trends are coming in your country or in your region. So you could use it, for example, remember this, what was this woman that won the Eurovision contest, the bearded lady? What was her name?
Conchita Wurst.
Yes, yes. So smart marketers that I saw, they're like, you know, 10 things, I don't know, like, they wrote a blog post, I think, was it Mashable or somebody, they wrote a blog post called, like, how is Facebook marketing turning into Conchita something, or something like that. Basically, they had what they wanted to say, and they connected it to something that is really trendy, and they got some good traffic from that. So basically, Google Trends allows you to stay relevant. You can see when there is something that is relevant, maybe a little bit to your business, or something you can link. You can ride on that pony and get some visibility.
One more question.
Please do, sir.
So the way you're doing is that, like, you're going to be the follower. So have you talked about to be the leader who create the trend?
Well, you need a few more years, but the thing is, in order to be a leader, you have to have something that nobody else have, and it can be a brand, or it can be a technology, or whatever. But basically, it's very, very hard. And in terms of, in Finland, maybe it's very much possible, I think, because the market is so small. But globally, worldwide, it's very hard. But what I would say is that if you do content marketing on steady basis, at some point you're going to be trendsetter. So I will give you an example. I think it was a website called Search Engine Land. I think that's where I started following them. So it's basically a few guys that were really good at search engine optimization. They started a website, Search Engine Land, I think. It grew many years ago. It grew. At some point, they started a radio show. It grew even more. They started, at some point, conferences. It grew even more. At some point, they started conferences pretty much like everywhere around the world. So they started very small, but at some point, they were like the trendsetter in terms of, you know, when they said something, everybody listened. When they created a conference, everybody went, you know, in the industry. But the way they got to it is that consistency of content. But if you want something like fast-paced, you want to be a trendsetter like right away or really quickly, you know, I have to refer back maybe to cat videos or something, you know, because those are, you can create very like small budget and it just shoots off the rock. You have to be really creative then. For example, if you remember this Finnish lady that spoke in different languages, what was it? Yeah, so all of a sudden she got a job in US, I think, or what was it? She left, and her video got many millions of views and so forth. So, you know, it's a rare gem, and it rarely happens. So another example could be, there was this girl that, you know, got fired or left the place, and she made a video where she shows like different, she writes on the whiteboard like, I really hated my boss and blah, 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 and so forth, and nice music, and that was really popular, and turns out a company actually designed it and pushed it like a real video, but that never happened.
And how about the first followers? Because like people remember the leader and the first followers, and then after that the rest is the same.
Yeah. I guess the best way to leverage leaders or trendsetters is to get on the same stage with them. I can tell you, again, a humbling example. I was invited to talk in Luleå, you know. I think there was Media something conference. I was representing Oulu or Finland or something, I don't remember. Anyway, you know, it's the evening before the conference, and we had a networking event or something, really small room, and I meet different type of people, and I meet this really nice guy, Norwegian guy, and you know, we talk a bit, and turns out he's into technology too, and we talk about technology and so forth, and I'm just like, whoa, this is really down to earth, cool guy, and so forth. And then the next day the conference is starting up, and I was invited to a panel discussion, and I just started my company. I think I had like no employees. I don't think I even had office or something. So basically like really beginning. So the panel discussion starts, and they start introducing people. Right? So they're like, boom, huge media concern representative there, this. And they get to my friend that I met last night, you know, the guy in the jeans with a nice smile and so forth, and they say, hey, this is Kim Arthur Daniels, founder of Playfish that was recently sold to Electronic Arts for like $1 zillion and so forth, one of the leader in the industry of social gaming and so forth. And then they're like, here's Artem. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm from Oulu. How are you? So basically, obviously in the audience, they didn't know that I don't have an office. So after the networking event, everybody, oh yeah, hello, you know, can you give me a business card and so forth. So the best way to, I guess, leverage leaders and trendsetters is to get on the same stage with them. You know, volunteer, you know, ask them to talk. Later on, Kim came to talk at my conference in Oulu called Valo Startup. So I leveraged that relationship, and hopefully he had a lot of fun. But the point is, if you get on the same stage with the leader, you will be perceived as an expert also. So I guess that's my tip on how, that's why I'm friends with Jari. Okay, I'm getting close to the finish line, but another thing you can do is you can reveal in your content something about your industry that nobody else is willing to reveal. For example, if I sell cars, I could write a blog post about how to get the best deals from a car salesman. I don't have a car, never was buying a car, so I don't really know, but that's a good example, because a car salesman would know how to get the best deal from another car salesman, maybe. So he could write a blog post about it, and that attracts attention. So, I don't know, like, you could write something like 10 things that doctors never tell you about. That would catch attention. You'd be like, whoa, okay, I better read that. I want to know what they don't tell me. Or you can do something like, wait, I need sound for that. Is it?
Hope for the best.
That's my Russian motto.
You never know.
Let's see if it works. Just a second. There we go. It's connecting. Yep, now let's try again. Please work. Does it connect to the internet? It did just a second ago, but let's try again. Oh yeah, now I think it's connected. Yes. No sound.
No sound. There's a panel there, but
Yeah, it's connected.
it's a microphone.
Okay.
There's a panel here, but it doesn't really help. It's
Yeah, it's okay. No problemo. Entrepreneurs always think on their feet. So basically, that's a video where it's a company called Blendtec, and they have blenders, blah, blah, blah. You probably have seen the videos. So yeah, they basically blend smartphones and iPads. They put them in a blender, press the button, and then the dust comes. That's it. So if you think about it, they dare do something that not a lot of blender companies can say that, hey, if you put an iPad, it would blend it. So, and a lot of times blenders just break and so forth. So they decided to reassure their customers with something that is funny and viral and interesting. So yeah, but that's iPhone 6. I want that. Can I have that? Yeah, okay, anyway. So be a content curator in terms of content. That's another thing you can do. You can gather the links and be the filter for good content. So that's another thing. And optimization of content. Basically, you have Google Analytics. You check which content gets the best exposure. You create similar content, but just improve it a bit, and that's how it goes. That's how you find the sweet spot. And if I give you some tips, if you create content on your website, which is basically text or blog or something, create a good title. There are some links to help you create good titles. And create good social media thumbnail. You know, when people share on Facebook, for example, there is a small icon. And for example, in WordPress, there is a plugin that allows you to choose which icon is shown. So you could create something that really grabs attention. And use articles, use images in your articles, and there is a link to public archive of images. And obviously, you put content on your website. But quickly, I'll show you. I'll show you this, the most interesting part, I think. So, how I do content marketing very quickly in my company. First, how many of you have gotten a business card and said thank you and then put it in the pocket and then threw it out? Okay, you're lucky the camera doesn't see you. But anyway, what I do is I try to think that business card is an opportunity. So I scan it using Evernote Hello, which is a free application. What it does is it automatically detects the text and sends a LinkedIn invite to that person. That is how every single business card basically becomes a connection on LinkedIn, and then when I have content, I share it on LinkedIn, and then everybody that I visited or met before in person gets to see that content. That's what I do in terms of LinkedIn. I use my company blog as a content hub. So I have YouTube, and I have SlideShare, and I have PDF, soon ebook and so forth, but I put it all on the website first. Because you want to drive traffic in the end to your own website, not to other websites. So I use my blog of my company's website as a content hub. Okay? I use this awesome application called BufferUp. They don't pay me anything, I just like it a lot. So BufferUp allows you to update social media profiles, but in an interesting way by creating a queue, and you create updates that go in that queue, and then BufferUp, sends those updates in the way that you have chosen before. So for example, I could create 10 updates in one day, and then BufferUp slowly every single day sends one update at a time, and then tracks the analytics, which update has been successful, which not. Really good application, absolutely free to get started. So that's what I do. Then I do this. That's actually from the event in Oulu. I try to record everything I do. Not everything, but everything in terms of my talks. I try to record, and I always think about this. I try to generate online assets from offline opportunities. So every time I do a talk, I record my talk, I share my slides on SlideShare, I upload PDF version of the slides to my website, because that helps the search engine a bit. And then obviously I put it on YouTube. Look, I have a funky haircut there, before I started to grow my hair. And I try to do something. Oh, I thought I heard a sound from the, yeah, somebody may be using the microphone in another room. But anyway, I try to do something that other companies cannot really do or don't dare to do. So I thought like, hey, I have a free weekend. Well, there are never free weekends when you're an entrepreneur, but semi-free. So I thought, what could I do really cool, zero money, and that could give me an exposure, free exposure. I love free. So I decided that I'm going to start a project called Opia Vaikuta, which is like a basically learn and have an impact, translated. And the idea was very simple. I give a training session, and people have to pay to attend it. But they have to pay minimum €1, but there is no maximum limit, and they choose. And they also choose how much from that money that they pay goes to charity, a hospital in Oulu, and how much do I get. So I created this, put it on the website, and I had to close it pretty soon because it was full really quickly. And because there is charity involved, I was able to get the hotel for free, and the newspaper wrote about me, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Again, think about it. Huge competitors that does online marketing trainings. They couldn't say like, hey, come for €1. No problem. Big companies cannot do that, and I leverage that. So that is a good way to get, and I was able to get a lot of people to write or mention me and so forth. So I'm continuing this, and maybe even at some point Jari would like to participate, and yeah.
There's big discussions.
Yes, good, good, awesome. So the idea is I can also use other people and let them have the spotlight, because it indirectly anyway always promotes me. Okay. So what I can say is, so far content marketing is basically pretty much the only marketing I do besides just talking to smart looking people like you also in different cities and countries. So I basically do talks, seminars, trainings, and I do content marketing. I don't do any kind of other marketing at all in my company since 2010. So I think it's worked pretty well for me, and if you think about it, okay, if I'm going to put the slides up on SlideShare, what's the effect? I can tell you the effect. I put a SlideShare slides online about online marketing, content online marketing, I think, and I get a phone call. Hey, we saw your presentation, looks really good. Would you like to come to talk at Jyväskylä? Of course. We would like to pay you also. No problem. Doesn't bother me, sure. So the idea is, I put my slides that I made anyway. Got business. That turned into a bigger business and so forth. So it really works in terms of driving business. So I guess my rules to succeed in content marketing is that make content that people want to talk about, highlight your expertise advantage indirectly. Dare to be different, but don't overdo it. Don't just dress in pink and, I don't know, do something funny. find ways to create passively content online from offline content like me. Just record what you do or share your slides, or if you're writing a student project, share it online on your blog and so forth. Optimize content to drive traffic to your sales funnel. So realize what makes money. People, when they contact us and buy websites from us, that makes money. So every time we create content, we should try to drive them there, to our sales funnel. And last, measure everything. There is Google Analytics, there is Facebook Analytics, there is Analytics anything. Just measure and see what works. So, that's it. I don't have any more slides. Amazing. Thank you very much. I think the sentence of the day is be creator, not a consumer, because there is a lot of content consumers, not a lot of creators. That's the best way to separate yourself from the crowd. Thank you very much, and thank you.